Alright guys, today I got a 2014 Toyota Highlander 3.5 liters and I'm going to show you how to replace the radiator. So the engine check light is on and it's got the thermostat code. I'm going to let the customer know and then to see if they want to do it or not. But for now, I'm going to show you how to replace the radiator. But let's head inside the vehicle, we check the code and then we go from there. So that's our vehicle right there. So let's head inside the vehicle and then we check the engine check light code and then I'll show you what to do next. So we got the P0128, P01604, and they are all talking about the thermostat. So definitely our thermostat is the issue right there. But let me go show you the radiator to show you how it's leaking. So you can see all this is the coolant splatter, and if you come this side, you can see on the edges right there. That's where the radiator is leaking. So we'll go ahead and replace the radiator for now and then we'll talk to the customer about the engine check light. Alright guys, so right now I'm under the vehicle. We have to take off this plastic cover. It's got a bunch of 10mm bolts and the plastic clip right here. We have to take this one out so that we can locate where to drain the coolant from. Alright guys, so since we got the bottom cover out, we got also to take off this top cover. It's held by just a bunch of clips. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 5, and then make sure the car is good to touch because you have to open the radiator cap. So make sure the car is good to touch before you tackle this job because you can burn yourself if it's under pressure. So we'll open the radiator cap. Take off this clip by just pressing with the flathead screwdriver. It will pop out and then we'll start draining the coolant. Next, get yourself the drain catch to catch the coolant and we'll go ahead under the vehicle and open that cockpit. When the coolant is draining, we'll go ahead and take off this plastic clip. There's 2 here, 1 there, 1 there, 2 this side. What we're going to do next is we'll take off these 2 10mm bolts holding this bracket. There's 2 10mm bolts here holding the latch, and then there's 2 more right here, and then we'll take off these 2 holding the air filter box, and then we'll follow this latch bracket to the bottom. There's a 10mm bolt right there. We'll take that one out as well, and then we should be good. Alright guys, so I took the hood latch off the way, disconnected the negative terminal of the battery. This is all about preference, and then I took out the air filter box right there. So right now what's going to happen is we're going to actually take off this clamp right here, and then we are going to disconnect the electrical connections on the fans, and then we're going to press these tabs. You see these tabs here? Press inside, press this one inside, and press this one. Squeeze it, and then I believe the fan should slide out, and then we are also going to separate the condenser from the radiator. Press these tabs, and then it will separate itself from the radiator. Then we'll slide the radiator out, but also we are going to also disconnect the lower radiator hose and see if we have got any transmission cooler lines. I have to jack up the vehicle so that we can do those, and then pretty much this radiator should come out. Alright guys, so the hood latch is not in the best position. It's being held by this electrical wire. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press from the on the tabs from the back. There's this one right here, this one here, this one here, and I think I have another one right there. And then I'll disconnect the horns, and then we're only going to remain with the cable latch, and then this thing should be safe on the other side so that we can have more room to work with. That is far much better. So right now I'll go ahead and figure out how I'm going to take the fan out, and then it should be good from there. So for the fan, yeah, I'm only going to disconnect this main socket right here, and then we'll take off the plastic clips holding the wire harness. There's one here, there's one down there, and then there's another one right there, and there's another one right there. And then we are going to actually disconnect the coolant reservoir, and then disconnect from the hose right there, take this hose off, and then we'll crawl under the vehicle, disconnect the lower radiator hose, and figure out which transmission lines we need to actually disconnect. Alright guys, so right now I'm going to crawl under the vehicle. You can see I've jacked it up on the passenger side. Safety first, you can see it's being supported by the jack and also secured by the jack stand. So we'll crawl under the vehicle, identify those two transmission lines, and then also disconnect the radiator hose, which is the lower one. So right now we are under the vehicle. We got the lower radiator hose right here. We'll take this clamp off and then slide it out, and then slide the radiator hose off the radiator. We got the first transmission line right here. Clamp, pinch it, slide it, plug it with the used spark plug. The same with this one right here. So let's go ahead and do that. And before actually go on, this other transmission line is connected to the cooling fan, so we're going to unplug it from right there. So let's get it. Alright guys, so since we got everything taken care of at the bottom, now we'll go ahead and disconnect that electrical wire from the fan and unplug wiring away from the fan assembly. Alright guys, so you can see I've disconnected the electrical wire from the fan assembly from right here. Press and pull on the tab, and then it's also disconnected. You can see the harness is kind of free, everything is loose and good to go. We'll tack it this side so that we can actually now take off the electrical fan assembly. So once you pry off the tabs for the electric fan from the radiator, if you pull it backwards, you don't have enough play or enough slack or enough room for the fan to come out. So what I did, I used the pliers to pinch the tabs on the condenser, pry it with a small flathead screwdriver on both sides, and now the condenser is separate from the radiator. So what we're going to do, we're going to raise the condenser up a little bit so it comes off from the radiator, and then I'm going to find a block of wood to support it so that we don't damage the AC lines, and then we're going just to slide the radiator off in the middle. Alright guys, so you can see I got a jack stand right here and a block of wood. So we are going to slide, let me see if I can catch it right there. We are going to slide the condenser upwards. Those are the tabs it locks in. We're going to slide it upwards and then separate it from the radiator. Alright guys, we got the old radiator out right there, and the new one is installed already, and you can see we got a new radiator and the car is running. I'm bleeding the cooling system right now, which I'm actually done. So let's head inside the vehicle. You can see the vehicle is running right now, and our temperature is on the half mark, which is good. So right now everything is good to go. And for the thermostat replacement, I talked to the customer and he says we'll do it next time together with the spark plugs. And when I was actually doing the work, I noticed that there was a part of oil in there, so you can't see clearly, but I did clean it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some dye in the engine, and then we'll let the car run, and then we'll come and check to see where the leak is coming from. So pretty much that's what it takes to replace a radiator on a 2014 Toyota Highlander.